Sup everyone, this is Karak with ACG, the Bearded Shaman of Game, and bringing you reviews at the speed of embargo. What's one part Starship Troopers, one part 1950s Army Corps singing group? That's right, Earth Defense Force. Starting back on the PS2 days as Monster Attack, then Global Defense Force, and now later, in its current series of titles, Earth Defense Force. These are games that opt for B-movie moments like giant bugs, hilarious massive robots, and enough destruction that even Zack Snyder would say, no wait, that doesn't actually make any sense. Over-the-top third-person action games. The newest in this lineup is EDF 4.1, The Shadow of Despair. And while it's already out on the PS4, it's now made its way to the PC. Let's see how it did, shall we? As always, if you like the video, maybe subscribe. It always helps the channel. So here's the review for EDF 4.1. Who thought being the Orkin Man would be so fun? Aliens, whose master plan is replacing laser beams with ants, and more weapons in one game than most game series combined. Graphics are up first. Listen, I think we've all asked ourselves this burning question, whether it be at Thanksgiving dinner or just hanging out with your friends. What is it like being inside a Fear Factory mosh pit inhabited by nothing but insects and robots? Boom. Now you know. Third-person building-sized insect exterminations never look this good. Well, at least in this series of games. Whether you're up close to the spinners on a massive spider bent on sucking your innards through your outards, or taking on an A-list of who's who B-movie robots. It's not high polygon, nor is it incredibly technically advanced when it comes to overall different special effects, other than fire, and fire on top of fire, and fire on top of that, so you can burn while you burn. It doesn't matter if it's bugs on top of buildings leaping Lenny Poffo style onto your head, or robots racing towards you at the speed of hate through unnamed cityscapes. It's a damn nice thing to see, and on the PC, the game runs really rather well. The only real issue I have is that regardless of the resolution, at times the game can still look a little rough, especially all the destructible territory. It's something EDF has battled in all their titles, and though the game shows some technical chops that didn't exist in the past games, it still has a long way to go when it comes to architecture that doesn't look like someone built it with Lincoln Logs and a bag of childhood hope. Overall, when you look at this title, it does a lot of things really well, but it will never probably amaze you. Sound, music, and voice.
Choose a class. Wing Air. Choose loadout. Air Raiders can equip 2 weapons and 1 vehicle.
And of course, sound is up first. Well, I've never been highly impressed with the tonal quality of the EDF games, especially some of their weapons. 4.1 is easily the best, and though in the thick of things, you are bound to have a wall of sound moment where everything just comes crushing together at once. The real complaint I have is towards the actual projectile weapons once again, like the machine guns that don't sound beefy at all, and in the end have very little low end, resulting in a sound that matches the look of their bullets, which is a bit on the cartoony side. Now, enemies let out alien enough screams, and the explosions of metal and bug blood when a robot hits them dead center is always satisfaction in audio form, but in the end, this package is still just average. Music. Sadly, the music in these titles have never really impressed me, and this continues that. They're really not my thing. It's a callback to older styles of titles of music, and I like that, but it really never gets me or wows me, and though this does its best to mimic what it would sound like if your orchestra had all the brass instruments in one place with a heavy reliance on hero horns and other we are going in kind of instrument choices, it never gets above average for me. It's a case of all the chances to succeed, but never taking a chance while you're actually doing it. You know, luckily it never gets in the way, so I would say the music is average. Voice. One thing to, of course, remember is this is hilariously gung-ho on purpose, with enough one-liners and troops screaming as they go into battle for 3 entire titles. It's good stuff, suitably B-movie, which means gung-ho kind of overall voiceovers as people salute you and then run into an ant's mouth. It is good, but suitably campy to the extreme, so for some people, this is not going to work for them. Gameplay. Now, it's always good to remember that the EDF games are not rocket science, though they certainly have their fair share of rockets. This is a game world where someone sat back and thought, well, the only way to save the Earth from this alien menace is to outfit those of questionable decision-making ability with weapons that have the killing power of all the world's religions. And you know what? I'm not sure if they were right or wrong, but the game actually really makes that part of it fun. Whether you play alone, co-op split screen, or multiplayer online co-op, you can pick one of 4 classes, each with their own unique little skills, and then jump into the absolutely corny story and tear shit up. As you progress, you find items, more if you're on the harder difficulties, and equip them to your characters. The thing about EDF is it's a weapon lover's delight, with 800 weapons, ranging from strange laser targeting energy missiles to the standard assault rifle every puke gets the moment they're indoctrinated into this kind of war. And it's all about pointing those weapons of welcome towards the enemies and waving until someone dies. It's a satisfactory mission base for a game that understands its core action, which is action. Straight up in-your-face action with a cover of enemies above you so thick they blot out the sun. In the end, that's it. There's not much strategy here except for shoot the enemy until they all die. What makes it so nice is the controls fairly tight, though that changes depending on who you are, of course. For example, the Fencer is a tank on wheels armed with an A10-sized Gatling gun that moves with all the speed of a teenager told to clean their room, while the Ranger is a somersaulting fool able to sprint around the battlefield at will and with a good deal of dexterity. Now, those are ground-based units, while there is an air-based unit and another style of unit. In the end, everybody's sort of varying degrees of different from each other. While EDF can be played in single player, and it's good fun, seriously, great fun, it's the co-op and multiplayer where the game absolutely shines, not just because it's there, but because some characters absolutely require good teamwork to continue succeeding, and without it, you can find yourself dying again and again and again, especially in single player. In fact, trying to play some of these characters in single player is incredibly hard, like the Specialist, who requires teammates to do good so he can call in air support. Well, if you're just with the AI, they wouldn't know their asses from someone else's asses if they were nose deep, resulting in you running around with weapons that aren't recharging because your AI saw a light post it didn't like, so it's standing there shooting it. You know, EDF games have never been known for good eye, never. But I swear to shit, it's actually a little bit worse here. The number of times that these dunderfucks spelunked around the city, bouncing off shit like the AI was just figuring out it wasn't in a Street Fighter game, but was in a game where it had long-range weapons, is countless. It failed almost every AI test I do during reviews. Now, does that make the single player impossible? Absolutely not. But sometimes you're going to end up wanting to be a class in a certain battle and just realizing, nope, really can't do that here, and having to switch back. Fun factor. You know, rarely does a game just make me happy to be a gamer, but man, EDF does. It's bullet hell in third-person form. It's every B-movie I've ever loved. It's robots thinking, hey, fuck lasers and high-tech. Let's just drop ants on everyone's shit like the world's largest picnic. With others, it's a blast. By yourself, though, depending on the class, it can be awesome or pretty good, depending on the frustration level you can handle. But the mixture of classes is interesting, though it is held down a little bit by some of the gameplay choices. Overall, though, when it comes to fun factor, when it comes to just sitting down and enjoying a title, this one is a blast. So as you guys know, I rate games on a buy, wait for sale, rent, or never touch it again rating scale. It's $35 and it's a buy, ignoring the crap DLC. The simple fact is it's 80 missions in single player, a ton more in multiplayer, more weapons than you could ever want, and the difficulty levels that actually matter when you choose them. Now, it's on the steep end, but so is the depth of the title when it comes to just pure anarchy and fun. It's not the prettiest game, for sure. But when you're surrounded by hundreds of enemies all bent on seeing if the Donner Party were right and humans did taste like chicken, it is really too good to pass up as a title. And here we come to the end of all this. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike the video, give it a thumbs down. Check out Patreon, it really helps. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe to the channel, and remember, for reviews that, review the entire game, and for a place that doesn't take shit from anybody, including money for reviews, stick with ACG. Peace out, and enjoy the rest of your week.